Hello friends, welcome back to the League of 72. My name's James Alcott, and on this channel we talk EFL and EFL only. And we've already started with our Player of the Season so far series with League 2. If you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do. And we're going to be doing the Championship as well. So every single club in the EFL will be covered when it comes to a Player of the Season so far. We've also done grades on every team in the EFL. So if you're a fan of the EFL and you just love football, then this is the channel for you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on every video that comes out on the channel. Right, let's dive into it then with every League 1 club's Player of the Season so far. First up, Accrington Stanley, we're going to go with Sean McConville. He's been so important in Accrington Stanley's forward play so far this season. He's pretty much been the guy when it comes to creativity. Top of the list, streaks ahead of any Accrington Stanley player when it comes to the likes of key passes per 90, big chances created and assists. As we said with the grading video that we did a few weeks ago, they're having a solid season at Accrington Stanley, and a huge part of that is down to Sean McConville going forward. AFC Wimbledon, Anthony Hartigan has come into his own this season. He's really starting to sort of put himself out there as a complete midfielder. You've seen a bit more creativity, a bit more end product when it comes to creating chances, scoring chances as well. And having 100 appearances in League 1 at the age of 22 means that if AFC Wimbledon can keep a hold of him, this is a player that you can build the entire squad around. Bolton Wanderers, Dapo Afolayan. Of course, it's Dapo Afolayan. Bolton Wanderers fans absolutely love this guy, and you can completely understand why. So great when he sort of starts on that left flank and dives into the right-hand channel with pace and verve, gets people off their seats. He's so exciting. We did mention that he had a bit of a tail off, but since then, he's actually come back into form. Vital in the games against Ipswich and Shrewsbury recently. He's such a talent. But now we're going to go with Thomas Hamer for this one. He's an important and versatile cog for this Burton Albion side. The second 22-year-old on this list. He's been very important and always there in terms of selection for Burton Albion this season. Can play as a right wing-back, as a left wing-back as well. Probably hasn't gotten too many headlines so far this season, but for a team that doesn't really play with wingers, he's so important with that versatility and the consistency that he provides. Cambridge United, who are having a great season themselves, I'm going to go with Joe Ironside, who's really stepped up. Paul Mullin, of course, last season, 32 goals. It was a good partnership, but you were wondering, would Joe Ironside be able to make the step up in terms of being that main man for Cambridge United, but also the step up, of course, into League 1. There's been a few other players that have done well for Cambridge United. Adam May, in particular, strikes out for me, but Joe Ironside, you know, for the moment when it comes to the FA Cup third round, but more importantly, his performances, his aerial play for Cambridge United, and his finishing ability as well. For someone who's 5'11", in my head, he's 6'2", 6'3". He's been brilliant for Cambridge this year. Charlton Athletic, George Dobson. He's been really consistent for a team that hasn't been that consistent, and in terms of getting the best out of what you can offer, again, he's been more consistent than a lot of players that have had moments where they've been quite exciting and then faded away massively as well. Really decent midfielder at this level, part of that midfield three, and he's a really just solid midfield destroyer, really. It's one of those where, yes, maybe he does all the dirty work, but someone needs to do that dirty work, and I think he's done it very well so far this season. I'm pretty sure Jackson will be very happy with what he's put out this year. If you think of winning over 3 tackles per 90 this season, which are very high levels within that 3-man midfield, I think he can be proud of his season so far. Cheltenham Town, I'm going to go for Alfie May. He's really stepped up for Cheltenham in terms of going into League 1 and actually been better in League 1, I would say, in terms of his performances as opposed to in League 2. And of course, they were champions last year as well. Plays off the left for Cheltenham, a real menace for them, real nuisance for opposition defenders. Has scored the goals that have allowed Cheltenham to have quite a, not carefree, but at least there hasn't been that heavy danger of going down as of yet. Alfie May's 9 goals so far this season being a huge part of that. Crewe Alexandra, difficult season for them, of course, and the squad's really young. But Tom Lowery, the 24-year-old, I think has been pretty impressive at times. He's composed on the ball, happy to receive it in that right-sided role of that midfield three for Crewe Alexandra. He's able to be a bit purposeful with his possession as well. Not too much to pick from here, but I'm going to go with Tom Lowery. Next up, Doncaster Rovers. This is just as tough. Not many candidates. Ethan Galbraith, the loan signing from Manchester United, has acclimatised to senior football. I mean, as much as you can do for a team that's struggling as much as Doncaster Rovers are so far this season. Some good performances from the 20-year-old. And he'll learn a lot from this period at Doncaster Rovers, and he's made himself an important part of this side. Fleetwood Town, Player of the season so far, Danny Andrew. I mean, first of all, he scored 5 free kicks this season for Fleetwood Town. Brilliant on that left-hand side, of course, captain for the team as well. So influential when you think of those overlapping runs that he provides. If you think of that performance against Bolton recently, superb in that game. And in terms of goal contributions, so crucial, such a weapon for Fleetwood Town. 12 goal contributions so far this season. Has to be Danny Andrew. Gillingham, Vadaine Oliver, he's the top scorer for Gillingham this season. We couldn't really give it to a defender because they've been so leaky at the back. Maybe Connor Masterson coming in from Queen's Park Rangers could help with that just a little bit, but I think we had to give it to Vadaine Oliver, not just because of the goals, but I think because he always puts in a shift. He's good even if he's not scoring goals for the team because he's such a battler in both ends of the pitch, you know, be it from a defensive point of view to sort of, you know, get the ball away at times for Gillingham, but also, of course, down the important end where he wants to be as a striker. Ipswich Town, I'm going to go for Lee Evans. It's not a funny situation because his name's Lee Evans. For Ipswich Town, I think they wish they were doing a lot better at the moment, but Lee Evans has been very solid for them in midfield. You know, there's a plethora of options when it comes to that squad, but he's been very consistent. It's a possession-heavy style, and Lee Evans really enjoys that, in particular under Kieran McKenna, who has, of course, taken over from Paul Cook. Really great in terms of recycling the ball. He's actually got 100 touches on average per game under Kieran McKenna. He's going to be so important as they try and make that late push for the playoff paces, and he's been super consistent in a few different roles for this Ipswich team this year. Lincoln City, and of course Anthony Scully had a frightening start to the season, but I'm going to go for Chris Maguire, who I think has been really impressive. You know, signing the 32-year-old, I think there would have been a lot of people that might have had a few doubts over him as a key asset for Lincoln City, but he's come in and he's proven the doubters wrong with some key moments for the Imps so far this season. 9 goal contributions so far this season. Yes, we'd like maybe a few more goals from him, but I think we'd like a few more goals from Lincoln City as a whole. So important in open player and versatile as well, you know, playing as a striker, playing as a winger, playing as an attacking midfielder as well. A great example of that being the hat-trick against Sunderland recently. His creation is really important, and as the season progresses between now and the end of it, with the additions of Morgan Whittaker and Liam Cullen, he could be really important for the side. MK Dons, Scott Twine, absolutely electric. He's just been ludicrous this season, to be honest. 13 goals, he's a top goal scorer for MK Dons this year, but also a key man in terms of providing for his teammates as well, with 8 assists. We know how brilliant he is at set pieces as well, and he's got a lot more pace than people probably give him credit for because they're focusing on the other elements of his game that's so good. So he's a very dangerous and complete winger who is destined for a higher level, in my opinion. Morecambe, of course, it's Cole Stockton. You can't really talk about Morecambe without talking about Cole Stockton. What a season he's had. Head and shoulders above anyone within the squad so far this season. Absolutely brilliant. He's not scored from the halfway once. He's scored twice as well. So not just goals, but things of beauty as well. 17 goals, the next best in the Morecambe side in League One is 5 goals from Adam Phillips. Goal contributions, 20. The next best, 9. Absolutely integral. If there was one player that you just didn't want to get injured in any team up and down the EFL, I think Cole Stockton would be the biggest hit to any team anywhere. Oxford United, Cameron Brannagan, one of the best midfielders in the league. Oxford have been really impressive of late. Lovely possession-based style that they play. Beautiful football, and Cameron Brannagan in that midfield is really important. Really solid in all aspects of the midfield game, and recently scored 4 goals against Gillingham. Prior to that, he'd only scored 4 goals all season. So for that alone, what a performance that was. He has to be the player of the season so far for an exciting Oxford side. Plymouth Argyle, going to go with Connor Grant here. He's a player transformed, you know, known as being that defensive midfielder or central midfielder. Nowadays he's playing as a left wing back. The output that he's providing as well in terms of the quality, persistent goal threat that he offers, with 5 goals so far this season, but also 4 assists for the likes of Luke Jeffcott and Ryan Hardy, who often get the headlines. He's been excellent in providing those opportunities for those 2 front men, and a big part of the progression of Plymouth as a team. Portsmouth, Gavin Bazunu, best goalie in the EFL, the Irishman who's on loan, of course, from Man City. There's been so much hype surrounding him this season. Of course, being Ireland's #1 these days as well is a big part of that, you know, taking on the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. But he's sprinkled in some wonder saves with some great distribution, really consistent in the way that he's playing so far this season. Lovely demeanour and application as a goalkeeper, which I think is a big part of it. And it all's points towards him being an absolutely elite player in the future. It's rare for a team that's sort of mid-table pushing for the playoffs to have their goalkeeper as their player of the year so far this season, but he's there on merit. Rotherham United, it's got to be the goal machine, Michael Smith, although it is tough. It's Rotherham, I mean, what a well-run club they are, having another great season, and there's a few candidates here. You know, think of Daniel Barlasser in midfield. Has been brilliant for the team in terms of goal contributions, 11 so far this season. Chiedozie Ogbene as well really gets people off their seats when it comes to Rotherham, but you have to give it to Michael Smith. You know, he's the figurehead and the output is there. 16 goals this season, 22 goal contributions this season. He is so effective for Rotherham. Sheffield Wednesday, Barry Bannan. We spoke about him right at the start of the season on this channel, and we thought this guy's going to be a baller in this division, and he hasn't disappointed. The Scott's one of the most enjoyable players to watch in the division. That low centre of gravity and his vision generally, just being able to pass the ball and find his teammates, and that's shown in the numbers as well. 2.5 key passes per 90 this season. He's been fantastic for the Owls. Shrewsbury Town, Luke Leahy, Mr. Utility Man himself. Look, he's a great player to watch in general, but you've been watching him all over the pitch so far this season. He's been such a utility man for Shrewsbury Town. He's played centre-back, left-back, left wing-back, and as a central midfielder this season. Also, wherever he has played, he's shown consistency, he's shown quality, ability to score goals, 4 goals so far this season, and create goals as well, 4 assists this season. Has to be Luke Leahy as the player of the season so far, and I'll be surprised if he gets beaten by the end of the season. Sunderland, I'm going to go for Ross Stewart. I speak about Sunderland in the video where we talk about how you fix them or rejuvenate Sunderland as they look to try and get themselves promoted to the Championship. So make sure you go and check out that video. But Ross Stewart, pound for pound, is the most influential player in their squad. And he's been winning games for them, goals win games. And Ross Stewart has been providing them for them this season. 18 goals so far this season. The next most for Sunderland is the Everton loanee Nathan Broadhead with 5. So that says a hell of a lot. If you think about it, percentage-wise, 29.4% of goals from Sunderland this season have been scored by Ross Stewart. If they're going to go up, he needs to continue to fire and maybe needs a little bit of help as well. Enter Jermaine Defoe. Wigan Athletic, I'm going to go with James McClean because the resurgence of him has been very impressive, although we probably should have expected it. You know what you're going to get with McClean. He's always going to work so hard. Great tenacity, but he's been able to continue to do that with this new role at Wigan Athletic. On that left-hand side, popped up with a lot of late goals as well this season at the very death, which is so important, and that's what gets teams promoted, and Wigan Athletic look like they might be able to do that so far this season. 10 goal contributions so far as well for James McClean. He's having a cracker of a season. Wycombe Wanderers, I nearly went for the 34-year-old Gareth McCleary, but actually I'm going to go for Mr. Consistent, Mr. Wycombe Wanderers himself, Joe Jacobsen, the 35-year-old. It's been a different season for him, but the quality remains, be it on the left of a back three or in the natural birth of that left-back position as well. So important on and off the pitch for Wycombe Wanderers, a team that's filled with leaders, but he is the #1 leader. And again, whenever we seem to do this list, we always put Joe Jacobsen forward because he's just so consistent for them. So there you have it, guys. I need you guys to get involved now. Get into the comments. Tell me where I've got it wrong, where I've got it right. A player that for your team is the player of the season so far, and a player for another team that you've seen who's impressed you. Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to this channel, well done, you've found us. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss a single video as soon as it goes out. And if you're feeling very generous, why not hit the like button as well. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you keep an eye out for the Championship video, and of course League 2 is already out, so go and enjoy that right this second. See you soon.